Hi, and welcome to 7 Steps to Starting and Growing a Social Media Marketing Agency to 7 figures and beyond. My name is Joe Soto, and I'm about to teach you how to start a social media marketing agency business that can earn you 6 figures per month every month. My agency brings over $250,000 per month, and we've been doing it for the last 8 years. And in fact, our very first year, we hit 7 figures. I'm going to show you exactly how we did it in this training. This is an awesome business because you get a benefit from having recurring revenue paid to you month after month from retainer-based clients that are happy to pay you because you've been helping their business. Well, one of the best parts about this business is that it's a growing industry and field. Right now, there are over 20 million businesses, small businesses in the US alone, and most businesses are struggling. And they're mostly struggling in how to reach new customers, how to grow their business online. And that's where you can come in by starting a social media marketing agency. So if this is for you, if you want a lucrative, reliable, new revenue source coming into your life, to your business, month after month, it's not for you if you're just looking for a get rich scheme and you're not eager to work hard. So let's get started and get into this. I'm going to give you as much training as possible in the next 45 minutes so you can get started and avoid all the trial and error lessons and all the learning curve that I had to go through in my first year, my first couple years of starting and running an agency business. I've got a few notes here, but let's go through all 7 steps. I'm going to give you the overview real quick of the 7 steps, and we're going to break each one of them down, starting with the overview of the 7 steps. So let's talk about each one of these. First of all, you're gonna choose a name. We'll talk about that. Then I'm going to show you how to choose a niche, right? Then I'm going to show you how to find and attract new clients into your business. In fact, I'll give you some great ideas for how to do that. It's very simple as long as you follow my guidance. Then we're going to talk about selling clients because that's step 4, right? You got to be able to sell clients. You have to be able to build a relationship and close new business. And then you have to be able to deliver. That's the next step, delivering results. You've got to be able to deliver services that can solve your client's most pressing problem. We'll talk more about that as we go on as well. Then step 6 is setting up I call it a referral marketing machine, where you've got referrals coming in and you no longer have to be necessarily actively prospecting. Over 80% of all the business that now comes into our agency comes in from referrals that come to us every single week, not just every single month. Lastly, you've got to know how to scale your business. But if you follow these 7 steps, most importantly, once you determine number 1 and 2, it's really about mastering steps 3 through 7. And when you do that, you're going to have a profitable agency business. And I sure wish I had somebody to give these 7 steps when I first got started. So let's get going. Step number 1, choosing a name. And I've got a few notes in front of me that I'll refer to. I've written some notes here, and I'll make sure you have a handout as well to go with this lesson. Step number 1, you've got to pick a name, right? And the best tip I can give you is to pick one that's easy to remember and easy to spell and is a .com. First of all, most people they're wired to type in .com after any type of business URL or domain name. So if you can find one that has a .com, that's all the better, okay? And you want to make sure that it's easy to spell and easy to remember because, again, you're going to tell people, the company you have and the name of your business, you want them to remember it later on. Then you want it to speak ideally, it doesn't have to, but ideally you want it to speak to the niche that you're in. What do I mean by that? Well, for instance, Revenue Inbound, my agency, specializes in inbound marketing services. And Revenue Inbound speaks to exactly what our promise is to clients, which is more revenue, right? More leads, more clients, more revenue. That's our tagline. I also started an agency that's created 7 figures that's been specialized just in the restaurant and the hospitality niche, and it's called Rockfish Marketing. So we chose that name, Rockfish, because that's indicative, of course, of the food, rockfish, that's served at some restaurants. And it just sends that subtle message that we're industry specific with that name. Now, why did we do that? Why did we create Rockfish Marketing separate from our other agencies? Because we decided to start niching into restaurants and building up that hospitality niche. We wanted to seem the most relevant to that industry in that business. Now, you can set up a variety of different names and DBAs underneath one LLC and one umbrella. That's Entirely up to you. I would also lastly say to try to avoid any negative trigger words. Even having social media in your name sometimes can send the wrong message or allow people to kind of prematurely judge your business before they have more information. So I try to avoid anything that would probably send some sort of negative message or maybe sounds like another business that has something negative anchored to it. So step 2, let's talk about choosing a niche, okay? So really it comes down to 3 different types of ways you can look at this. Type of business, category of business, and size of business. And there's some other ways you can look at it as well. These are 3 of my favorite ways to help people decide on a niche. So I'm gonna grab some water real quick. Let's talk about what I mean by type of business. Type of business could be a restaurant or bar, a realtor. It can be a home improvement company. Maybe you're specializing in landscaping companies, boutique mortgage companies. Maybe it's HVAC and plumbing services. Maybe you specialize in high-end salons and spas, or maybe you specialize in weight loss clinics, or maybe plastic surgeons, or maybe dentists. Those are all types of businesses, right? And categories are a little bit different. So I would encourage you to ideally focus on niching in a category of business. And what do I mean by category? I mean, you're able to chunk it up. So for instance, don't just niche in restaurants, niche in, as you heard me mention earlier, hospitality, right? What do I mean by hospitality? Hospitality, well, underneath hospitality falls hotels, maybe some entertainment venues, right? And most certainly some resorts. I mean, resorts are a really great, very competitive space, and these resorts can charge and earn a lot of money. A lot of them do a lot of revenue, and they're competing with other resorts in the region or in the area. So you can specialize in resorts and hotels and restaurants, nightclubs that also might fit underneath that category. So that would be an example of chunking up to hospitality. What's another category of business? Well, how about wellness professionals? Instead of just focusing on dentists or focusing just on plastic surgeons or niching and focusing on just medical weight loss clinics or chiropractors, what if you focused on, you were a wellness marketing specialist, and anyone that kind of falls under the wellness category, you're able to help. They all have very similar crossover type services in terms of how they need to generate leads and create funnels online. You can help them with that. Here's another one, finance. Accountants, financial planners, credit repair companies can all fit underneath a finance category. So maybe niche in a category, right? Perhaps it's, here's some other ones. Sports, right? Teams, venues, in e-commerce can be all underneath a sports category. E-commerce itself can be its own category, and you can focus on e-commerce services and products. How about professional service firms like your attorneys, your accountants, your consultants? One of our first clients that we ever got for our agency back in 2010 was a management consulting firm out of Texas. And they were focusing on getting corporate clients. We started bringing on more corporate consultants, corporate consulting companies, management consulting firms. We found a little niche in that for a while. We really enjoyed that. So that's considered professional services firms, for example. So that's how you categorize, okay? Well, you can also chunk by size, right? So size might be, maybe you niche in small to medium-sized businesses between $1 and $10 million in size. When I was first starting out and I was just trying to figure out what niche I would gravitate to, I just started calling on different types of businesses. And I would have businesses say, well, you're new, you don't really have much experience in our niche. And I'll say, well, my niche is small to medium-sized businesses between $1 and $5 million a year. Do you fit that size of business? They would say, well, yes, actually we do. We do about $2 million a year. And I'd say, great, you're perfect then. You're within the niche that I work with. So it's all about how you frame it and how you judge it. But I would encourage you to stick with category or type when you're first getting started so you can at least have some sort of focus point and look like an expert and own a certain niche. Okay, step 3. I mentioned step 3 through step 7. If you master those 3, get past choosing your name, okay, and you get past getting your niche. You got that done, right? And I encourage you to take some time on that. You don't want to rush through that stuff, but really the stuff you want to master is step 3 through 7, because cash flow is king in your agency, and if you can learn how to attract new clients and bring new fresh blood into your agency on a monthly basis, You'll always grow and you'll scale very quick to 7 figures. In our first year of business, we had close to 100 clients who signed on with us. I think within 6 to 9 months, we were at around 75 clients. And it was because we were extremely aggressive with the strategies that I'm going to teach you here next, okay? Let's talk about it first of all. I learned this from a few mentors of mine who taught me that I should spend 80% of my time on selling. And so that's the first thing I've written here for you, is that you need to spend 80% of your time on selling. That includes prospecting and the attraction part. Now, that also might include setting up online sales funnels. Excuse me. So you can properly attract people. We're going to talk about that because there's a variety of ways that I'm going to suggest that you use to attract new clients. In fact, I point out 7 ways. Now, I have more, and we go really in depth into how to find new clients in the social media marketing agency program. Ty has put together an amazing program. I'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end. But in the meantime, you're going to get a real good handle on my favorite 7 ways, okay? Because I wanted to make sure you got value in this to where if you said, I want to start a new social media marketing agency, you could leave after watching this and you'll literally have the tools to do it on your own. I mean, the only thing that would stop you would be you. Finding clients. So how do we do that? Well, let's talk about it, right? Number 1, networking. That's the number 1 way to find clients. When I first started my agency, I went to every breakfast meeting I could find. I went to every luncheon, business luncheon I could find, okay? I went to every cocktail networking hour, business cocktail networking hour that I could possibly find where I could network with other like-minded individuals and entrepreneurs and business owners that I might be able to help. And I knew that if the entrepreneurs and businesses that I could help weren't going to be there, there were going to be people there that I could network with that then could lead me to those type of companies, especially if I properly introduced my niche and explained what I do in such a way that intrigued them enough to make a referral for me. And I'm going to show you how to get those referrals in step 6 of the business here. So networking, I would encourage you, join the Chamber of Commerce, join BNI. Okay, and go to multiple BNI meetings so you can get a feel for the one that's right for you. And if you don't know what BNI is, just Google it, okay? And if you're in a part of the world that they don't have BNI meetings, then just type in local networking event, type in local networking meetings, go to meetup.com, and meetup.com will show you some local business meetings that are going on and happening this month, right where you live. Number 2, direct outreach. This is the second way to find clients. It's just reaching out to people. Just sending not spamming people with 1,000 emails, but just messaging and direct people via email. This direct outreach includes via email. Direct outreach also includes connecting with people on Facebook. You can Facebook message people directly. LinkedIn, you can direct message people on LinkedIn and contact them. And this one sounds funny, but it works. The mail. Just sending somebody a handwritten note and saying, there's a couple of things I noticed on your website that if you corrected, I think could double your business over the next 12 months. Would you be open-minded to learning more about that? If so, here's my email, here's my phone number, and you can text me or let me know a good time. Just a simple handwritten note could go a long way. Most people are not doing that right now. Okay, so there you have it. You've got direct outreach. Facebook Messenger, LinkedIn Messenger, you should be contacting somebody every day on that if you're building your business. Okay, local business alliance. What does that mean, Joe? As you can see, as I was writing this, I started to spell it wrong. What is local business alliance? Well, this is a phrase I coined when I moved from Iowa to Northern Virginia, and we kind of moved our whole business and agency, but a lot of our clients were still in the Midwest. And I knew that I was tapping into a new area, which was Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland. And I knew I needed to find some clients right away so I could have, some business growth in the area that was in my own backyard. There's plenty of business in your own backyard. I knew that. So I immediately started meeting with people that also served and sold to restaurant owners. Okay? What kind of people, Joe, did that include? That included people who sold payment processing, credit card payment processing, people who sold payroll services, right? People who sold wine. I met a wine rep, somebody who sold wine to restaurants and was like the wine broker. I also met somebody who has since referred over $250,000 to us who sells insurance directly to restaurants. And he specializes in insurance. And so you have to think about whatever niche you're in, there are other salespeople who already have them as accounts. There are already salespeople who are selling to businesses that you're going to be prospecting. Why not tap into their network and offer them some sort of incentive? You see, those salespeople, those sales professionals are incentivized by additional commission. So just for a referral, you could offer them, say, for example, 10 to 30% commission up front and maybe 5 to 10% commission every single month that a client they refer to you continues to pay you. We have people that have referred us enough business to where they're almost getting like a nice teacher salary worth of commission from us on a yearly basis because of who they've referred to us over the years. So it can be very lucrative. In fact, it's now with the referrals, because remember I told you 80% of our business comes from referrals, comes from the local business alliance, okay? Very powerful. Then local publications, that's what local pubs means. That doesn't mean bars and go to the bars. Local pubs stands for publications. So it's still amazing how many people are advertising in local newspapers, local magazines, local trade magazines and newspapers. And so go pick those up. Go to your local grocery store and food store and pick up those newspapers and see who's still advertising in those. And you're not going to necessarily talk them out of advertising in those, although sometimes you will. It just gives you some indication of who's still trying to spend money on advertising and who needs new business. And those people are the most desperate of all. Okay, and they need your help. Number 5, speak locally. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, when I first joined the Chamber of Commerce and a couple of their local networking organizations, I volunteered to speak at any lunch and learn that they needed me to speak. If they needed me to do 15 or 30-minute presentations at their breakfast networking events, I would happily do that. And I volunteered to teach stuff that would add value. So my promise was I won't pitch my services necessarily because I know as long as I can tell people where they can find me, they'll go online and they'll find me, right? But I also knew that if I could really wow them with some ideas and some concepts and some strategies that could genuinely help them if they just took that information back and used it, that they could grow their business with, that they would remember me, or maybe they figured out they couldn't do it all themselves, so they would call our agency. And we got a lot of clients from speaking at local events and seminars. Number 6, target businesses who are paying for Google AdWords, otherwise known as Google pay-per-click, which stands PPC, right? PPC stands for pay-per-click. When you go to Google and you search for a problem, like you need a new luxury bath remodeling, or maybe you just need kitchen remodeling job, and you type in kitchen remodeling, look and see what businesses show up. Okay, let's say you focus on contractors and you're helping kitchen and bath remodelers, and you type in kitchen remodeling in your local area on Google. You'll see there are some businesses that are advertising when you search that. Those businesses are contracting companies and remodeling companies that are paying Google's AdWords per click in advertising to show up there. And every time you click, they get charged money if you click on one of their links. Well, what's that tell you? That tells you they're already spending money on advertising. You could be doing the exact same thing. Okay, number 7, so those are people to prospect. Number 7 is to create an online sales funnel. This takes a little bit of an upfront investment, and ideally you have at least one case study or at least one success story that you could highlight or showcase in an online video or even in an online printable report that you could then advertise to your local business community and generate new leads for people to see that case study and learn something from it, add value first, get those emails, get those leads, and then funnel people to having a free consultation with you, or maybe getting a free assessment on their marketing done by your business and agency. So you can create an online sales funnel. So that's kind of the 7 ways to find new clients. Let's move on now to step 4 of starting and growing your own social media marketing agency, which is selling. Now, this is actually, my favorite part of my business. It's my most favorite thing to do, which is to meet with potentially new customers and help them understand Well, first, to help understand where they're at in their business and where I can help them, and help them understand how we can help them achieve their goals. And then closing new business and bringing them on. It's my most enjoyable part of my business. Most people think that my most enjoyable part would be the social media marketing stuff, the delivering results stuff, because I have an expertise in Facebook advertising and other areas of digital marketing. But my real favorite, my actual love, is this part. So step 4, and you can learn to love it too when you follow this process. So this is actually my sales process and our sales process. So I'm going to break it down for you. The first thing that you want to do is, of course, you want to research the prospect. So if you have a meeting with an upcoming prospect and you've already done your attracting and you've got an appointment, okay, and you want to make sure you do your research, right? You want to do your research in the prospecting phase and after you've gotten the appointment and you're getting ready to go in for your first meeting, which we call the discovery meeting. What does discovery meeting mean? Discovery meeting means that you are taking the time to discover what the business owner, an entrepreneur, needs more of, what they want more of in their business. Now that doesn't just mean revenue, right? I ask a long series of discovery questions to really just start uncovering and understanding their needs. And if you understand that what you're trying to do in the discovery process is make it about them, it's not about pitching your services. It's about finding out what they need. What's their current situation? Where is it they're headed and where they want to go? What stopped them from achieving the goals that they're outlining for you? How are they currently spending their marketing? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Okay, what do they think will work? Right? Why are you even there to visit with them? Right? You have to uncover these needs. And quite honestly, the discovery process is where you ultimately will sometimes and most often bring out the pain. The pain of what's going on for real in their business and getting them to open up. And the more that they are answering your questions and doing all the talking, the more likely you're going to have rapport with them, and it's going to lead to the next step, which is, of course, being able to present to them. But we don't call it necessarily present. The listening part is asking the questions and taking the notes and then taking that information back to where you could then ultimately diagnose a solution. Often people jump into sales situations and they're so eager to just sell. They just want to come in and pitch their services. And the first opportunity the customer gives them to talk, they take it. And what I teach is to not do that. In the discovery process, you're going to ask a lot of questions. And the most important thing you can do, which is why it's got its own step, is to listen. To listen and take notes. By taking notes, you force, so I'm going to just pull up a note. You force yourself to be attentive and to really digest and understand what it is that they're saying. And it slows you down. And it kind of slows them down too when they're in a big hurry, okay? So I want to encourage you to take notes when you meet with your clients, and that's the listening part, and take your time with it. Learn to love the process because it forces you to listen more attentively and actively, okay? And then I have to here teach, right? You're helping them before you're actually helping them. What do I mean by that? Well, in this stage of the sales process, you're usually at this point, whether it's your first call with them and you just got through your discovery meeting, you've asked some questions and gathered data, and you're ready to kind of prescribe some solutions. Instead of just dumping a proposal on somebody, I encourage you to meet with them to present to them some solutions. And I exchange the word present for teach. Why? Because inside of my presentation, my goal is to teach them something that displays my competence in a way that's actually helping them. So I really will show them something that can help them. I'll say, for example, one of the things we'll help you with is this, and if you could take this yourself, even without hiring me, you'll find some success with it. And I actually teach them something. I won't show them all the nitty-gritty details, but I give them something where they go, wow, that's really cool, we're not doing that. And if we just did that, I think it would help us. Now, if I've got them in that state of mind where they feel like, man, this guy's really actually helping me and giving me free consulting, I've kind of got them on the hook. They're going to want more of that. And they're only going to be able to get that if they hire us for our services, okay? So instead of presenting, learn to, yes, present some solutions, but teach them some things along the way. And then 5, you got to qualify whether or not they are committed to solving their problem. And you also have to qualify whether or not they have the budget to work with you. And then number 6, that's pretty simple. You've got to close. And I have a three question close I'd like to just teach you real quick, okay? The first one is, I like to confirm that they believe I understand their situation. So if I've done a good job in the discovery meeting, I'll say, Mr. Jones, do you believe that I understand your issues, your problems, and your concerns that you have going on in your business right now, that I understand your current situation, kind of where you want to go? And I just kind of ask it casually. I wait for them to answer. And they'll say yes. And then I want to gauge whether or not they believe that I am competent enough to help them. And if I've done a good job teaching, listening, going through the discovery process, this is pretty easy to get a yes from as well. So I'll say, okay, well, my second question would be, do you believe that I have the expertise to help solve these problems, or at least my team has the expertise to help you solve this and get to where you want to go? And then silence is golden here. I just shut up. Okay, more often than not, they say yes. If not, I'll say what areas you think that I'm lacking, and I'll try to overcome that stuff. They're going to say yes. Okay. Then my third question is very simple. I just look at them and say, would you like our help? And I wait for a yes. And then we wrap it up. Great. What I'll do is I'll send you over a digital agreement, and you can sign it digitally online, and we'll get started. And I schedule a kickoff meeting with them right there. Right there. Okay. So I'll say, would you like my help? Now, another way of asking, would you like my help, is I'll say, well, do you believe that I've earned your business today? And I shut up. Powerful question. Have I earned your business? Hard for people to say, no, I don't want your help. And it's hard for people to say, no, you haven't earned my business. All right, step 5. Let's go into step 5. I know some of you watching are very eager. Just keep this in mind when you're out selling, okay? Your goal is to open new relationships, not to close new sales. Okay? All right, step 5, delivering results. Here's the ultimate question, right? And that's, what services could you deliver on that solves your ideal client's biggest, most common, most pressing problem? Okay? That's the question I wrote up here, because that's the question you have to ask yourself. So instead of just trying to come up with packages of a bunch of different services you'd offer, I always go back, and if I've met with them once and I have a second follow-up call, and I just brainstorm with my team, or even on my own with a piece of paper. I sit down and think about, okay, for this business, it looks like they really need SEO because they're trying to show up at a competition online. That's what they told me. So that's important to them. So maybe it's SEO. Maybe I realize they have no social presence, so they need social media. Maybe they have had a really disjointed brand story. And they need a new brand story for their business, which is a starting point for a lot of the projects you'll take on. Then I'll write that down. And so you'll come up with services that combined together, can help solve their biggest problem. And that's what delivering results is all about. Now, don't get hung up in learning all the things that can solve people's problems. I see people start social media agencies every single day, and they feel like they have to become the expert in SEO or social media or Facebook advertising or Instagram, and they don't. There are plenty of people out there willing to help you and be part of your team, maybe be part of your outsourced team or telecommuting team. We'll talk more about scaling in a minute, who are capable of fulfilling and delivering results. Your job is strategically to put together those solution packages, those programs, those services, and then have a team of people who could deliver on it. So it's not, the question doesn't say, what are you capable of delivering on, right, necessarily, even though it says you, right? But what about your team? Like, what could your team, if you were to hire somebody, think of it like this. Do you think there's plenty of people out there that know Facebook advertising that would love to make a few $100s per account that you give them, maybe $1,000 at most per account, while you're charging $2,000, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 per account, making a nice profit margin and just paying out the people who can help deliver the results? But you have to gather that data, that information, maybe put together the strategy as the owner and entrepreneur who's getting started with this. When we first started our agency, I knew nothing about social media marketing. I just knew people. And I went out and met with business owners, and I volunteered to help them. And I did learn just enough from reading a few books that allowed me to realize that in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, right? Just knowing a little bit more than every business owner that I met about social media and getting an online presence and attracting new customers was good enough for them to feel like I could deliver results for them. And we did. And we did that for hundreds of people now. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let's talk about getting referrals. This is step 6. I know we're kind of rocking through this. I know I'm going very quickly. I hope you're taking a lot of notes. But number 6 is really important because to me, you can't be always chasing business. If you're performing and getting results, you're going to get some client referrals. And yeah, you can sit around and wait for referrals to come to you, and they will come to you. Now that's reactive. I have reactive versus proactive. What I want to talk with you about is proactive. Proactive is you have a mechanism, a system, a process for getting new referrals, right? That one of those processes, one of those systems is setting up your own local business alliance. I meet for coffee with my local business alliance members, people who also service the same clients that I do or similar like clients and offer their services, and we refer each other business. It's kind of like our own little BNI group, but industry or niche specific, okay? And you can find people like that. There are people who, for instance, just specialize in selling and servicing the hospitality industry. Maybe they're a supplier. Maybe they're the food wholesaler for them. You can identify, take those people out for coffee, offer them incentive, and refer them business as well. And the way that you get referrals is by asking for them. It's like some people are looking for like the magic bullet, but there is a magic bullet question, which I'm giving you here. But the magic bullet is just asking people. I love to ask people for a small favor. It's hard for, especially people who you've helped out or you've added value to. They kind of always, especially when someone says thank you, it's now very easy to say, I was wondering if you could do me a small favor. Anyone who's thanked you recently or they've appreciated something you've done for them, they always kind of feel like they owe you anyway, slightly. And so when you frame it as small favor, people tend to say yes. As long as it's within reason. Worst case scenario, they say maybe, right? And a maybe's still pretty darn good. So I'll say, would you mind doing me a small favor? And I let them answer. I say yes, well, depends. Maybe they might say depends. And I'll say, who else should I be talking to? Knowing what we do as an agency or what I do as a digital marketing consultant, who else should we be talking to? And I just relax. I let them answer that question. I stop talking. And they'll usually think of someone, I didn't say, do you have anyone I should be talking to? I said, who else? Okay. I'm making them think about that right away. And most people will give you a name. Well, you should be talking to Jim. He has this restaurant and bar down the street, and it is hurting right now. They've got some new competition that's moved across the street. He also owns a couple other locations. He could really use some help. And so I'll say, okay, would you mind me doing a small favor and introducing me to him? Would you just simply, even if it's an introductory email, letting him know that I might be contacting him and that you're referring me? So that way it's not cold when I call him. Would you mind doing that for me? And they always say yes. But you have to feel confident in asking these questions. And so I'll say this, I asked this question, who else should I be talking to? I asked that question to my existing clients. I asked that question to people in my alliance network. I asked that question to friends and family. I asked that question to colleagues and people I network with. I might be at a networking event and someone says, man, this is really great stuff. Too bad our company doesn't really need any of that. I'll say, well, who else should I be talking to? And they think of somebody in their network. And I work through them that way and I get referrals. Even if you call that referral and they say, I didn't get an introductory email or I don't know who you are, I'll say, well, you know Jim, right? And they'll say, yes, great. Well, Jim actually referred me to you and said we should be talking. If you say that on the voicemail, they'll call you back. It's a powerful way to get referrals. Every single person watching this could be at a networking event tomorrow and could be asking that question of nearly everybody they meet and go home with a bunch of referrals. Not necessarily for the people they're meeting, but our businesses that they're meeting, they could be prospective customers, but the people they refer you to are your prospective customers. It's powerful, and I encourage you to do it. Let's talk about step 7. Step 7 is scaling, okay? At the end of the day, you can't do this alone. If you want to get to 7 figures, you want to get to 8 figures, you can't do it alone. You have to scale the business. And of course, you're going to do that through people. You're going to do that through maybe raising your prices at some point. There's some very sensible Obvious ways to scale the business? Well, I'm going to give you some of the not so obvious ways that I think should be obvious. Number one is, first, let's put $1 million into perspective, okay? Think of it like this. And I've got a few notes here written down. You can write this out, and I'll make sure this is in your handout. 20 clients at $5,000 a month in retainer is $1 million per year in revenue, okay? And every single person watching this can go find 20 clients, even if it took you all year to find those 20 clients. If it took you 2 years to find 20 clients, you'd have $1 million business. And it doesn't take but a small handful of a team to manage those 20 clients, believe it or not. But let's say you're charging $1,000 to $3,000. Well, you only need 50 clients at $2,000 a month. 50, okay? 50 clients to hit $1 million in revenue. You only need 33 clients at $2,500 a month. So it's not a lot of clients. People get amazed sometimes when they talk to me, how many clients you have. They think that I'm going to have a lot more for the revenue that we're creating and we're generating. But we want to make sure that we're servicing them and we're delivering results for the clients that we have. 10 clients at $10,000 per month, there's your $1 million business, right? More than, actually, it's it's over $1 million. 5 clients at $20,000 a month, you're gonna find clients that'll pay you $20,000 a month. Well, those clients, you need 5 of those and you'll be at $1 million in new revenue, okay? So it's the first thing I want you to do is put that in perspective. Number 2 is to learn how to value yourself first, okay? I have here, clients will only value you and treat you to the degree you value and secretly, how you secretly see yourself. Most people have a difficult time scaling because they can't get past their own limitations. They're stopping themselves. So you have to understand, I was at a recent seminar once when I said, how many of you, and it was a seminar where there was agency owners. I said, how many of you charge $1,000 or less for your services? And I couldn't believe how many hands went up. And I thought, there's all those outside, a large group of people who are undervaluing what they're delivering in the marketplace. Because what we do, if we're generating new revenue and helping businesses grow and sustain that growth for months to come, is worth being paid for and being paid what you're worth, okay? Number 3 is do the work, okay? There's a great book by Stephen Pressfield. Man, I'm butchering the last name. He wrote the book, Do the Work. Just look it up. Do the Work, Stephen Pressfield, I think is his name. He's written a couple other really good books, like Turning Pro, also one of my favorite books. These are great mindset books. My favorite by him, though, is Do the Work. Small, thin book, and I'll tell you what, reading that book will inspire you and show you how to overcome resistance that you put on yourself, okay? I always ask people, are you interested in starting your agency business, or are you committed to it? And if you're committed to it, you're going to grow this to 7 figures and beyond, okay? You have the opportunity to do it. Let me talk a little bit about number 4. Outsourcing, hiring, and delegating. That's how you scale, right? If we didn't, we have all 3. I consider us to be kind of a hybrid agency where we've hired people in-house and we outsource and we have telecommuters that kind of contract with us that we pay on a monthly basis to help us manage some of our client accounts. In-house, you might have different positions. You might outsource all the design, all the web development stuff. You might outsource your Facebook advertising, or your SEO. I don't care, right? Just you'll figure that out. Whatever you're not an expert in, you want to outsource. Whatever you are an expert in, you're ultimately going to want to delegate or hire or outsource for as well. So that way you're not working in your business, you're working on your business. You know, Michael Gerber, who wrote the book, The E-Myth, he said it best when he said, you need to be spending 80% of your time working on your business and 20% of your time in the business. And some people, most entrepreneurs have that reversed. They spend too much of their time in the business. And it's very easy to get caught up when you're building your literally $1 million plus social media marketing agency when you're doing all the work yourself. When you're managing the client, meeting with clients, when you're doing the social media posts and advertising, when you're maybe doing the SEO work and the web work, and also how you're supposed to be marketing and how you're supposed to be out there networking when you're doing all that stuff. So you have to scale with people, and you do it by outsourcing, hiring, and delegating. And where do you do that? Well, you can use some really cool sites. There's a lot of websites like Upwork.com and Upwork.com, there's Fiverr, there's Guru.com. There's all kinds of freelance sites out there of people who could do the work, right? You know, you can use problogger.com/jobs and find great content writers for your agency. So they're out there. There's plenty of people out there for hire, willing to go to work for you for less, and to allow still for a profit from you bringing on a client, okay? Number 5 is to be valuable, right? And what do I mean by being valuable? And by being valuable, you're allowed to do the main thing that can help you scale your business, which is increase the size of your clients and increase your fees. I could have wrote scale your fees and clients. But the truth is, you're going to get paid in direct proportion to the service and value that you bring into the marketplace, right? And that's going to help you with what you charge. I always say that the secret formula for pricing and for charging what you're worth is based on your ability to sell, but it's also based on your ability to deliver value and to show that to the next client so you can charge what you're worth. So you can scale your fees and you can scale the size of your clients because you become more and more valuable in the marketplace. And when I say you, I mean you and your company and your agency so you can continue to scale, okay? Now, I know we've gone through a lot of information here. I've talked about the 7 steps to growing your agency. Let's just recap those 7 steps really quick. Number 1 is you're going to choose the name for your business. If you haven't done it already, just get it done. It means more to you than it does to your clients, believe me. Niche. You definitely want to pick a niche or a space you're going to play in. I encourage you to pick a category. Number 3, you got to attract and find new clients. And you want to be spending 80% of your time on prospecting and selling, finding new clients, especially when you're climbing to $1 million in sales. That's still the infancy size of your business, right? And when you're in the infancy size of your business, you want to be focused on finding new clients, bringing in cash flow. Cash flow is king. It's the lifeblood of your business. It's what gives you the freedom so you can do the things you want to do. And then, of course, selling them, delivering results, generating referrals. I showed you, I gave you the questions to ask so you can generate referrals in this business. And then I gave you the blueprint for scaling the business. You have it, right? Now, some of you watching this go, man, I can see how every single one of these steps is indeed the blueprint for starting your own social media marketing agency business and growing it to 6 figures a month, 7 figures a year and beyond, right? But maybe you're still hungry for more, okay? Or you realize that you may be one of those people that needs more details in every area here and more, right? Because every single one of these areas can be broken down into multiple chunks, right? And so what I want you to do is I want to invite you to take a serious look into Ty's social media marketing agency program. Why? Well, first of all, I teach multiple lessons in that, okay? So if you liked what I've taught you here, I teach you Facebook advertising, how to do offers, how to do giveaways and create funnels for that. I teach you more in depth on how to find clients, how to use PR. I get into a lot of details, but here's the good news. It's not just me. Ty's put together a group of world-class trainers and experts, digital marketing experts, who teach you everything you need to know inside of the delivering results, as well as selling and attracting clients, getting referrals, how to scale. All of it's covered in depth, okay? There's dozens and dozens, I lost count of how many lessons and modules there are inside of the social media marketing agency program. Tens of thousands of people have already gravitated to it, and there are thousands of testimonials already and hundreds of really impressive success stories, and you can be the next one. How do you do it? Well, I don't know if there'll be a link here below the video or not, but you can find it, hook up with Ty's organization and join Social Media Marketing Agency and get yourself immersed in these 7 steps, right? Ty actually talks a lot about brand story. You're gonna hear a lot of people in the course, in addition to Ty Lopez, talking about how to have a successful social media marketing agency, a wide variety of social media marketing agency owners teaching you how they did it, right? In addition to my steps. But you're gonna be immersed in this stuff when you join that class, okay? It's online, it's self-paced. Ty has additional events to back up and reinforce and support the stuff learned there. There's an exclusive Facebook group you can belong to. It's an impressive community. I dip in once in a while in that Facebook group and answer questions myself, personally from time to time even. But I really want to invite you to do it, to take the step, to take the leap. And here's why. First of all, it's risk-free. I know he's got a guarantee tied to it. Nobody gets in and makes a decision. I remember I asked if you're interested or if you're committed, right? So let me ask you, if you're watching this, are you interested in starting your own social media agency, or are you making a decision now to be committed to it, right? And if you are able to make that decision and immerse yourself in this, there's no better place to start. I'm very grateful that Ty has given me an opportunity to share this with you, that I've had an opportunity to be kind of a part of your world now and give you these 7 steps. It's kind of a way for me to also give back and introduce people to what's worked for us. I wish I had this when I got started. I remember walking into Barnes & Noble and buying a stack of social media books. No kidding, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. There was no Instagram. I think I bought a book, I'm not joking, on MySpace. And we started helping businesses with what little we knew. And I just started talking to entrepreneurs and business owners. I started going to networking events, everything I taught you here. But if you want the details, if you want to know like step by step of everything, there's only so much we could teach you in under an hour presentation here. There are, I bet there's well over probably 100 hours inside that course, okay, an online program. So I hope to see you inside it, right? Take the leap and invest in yourself. I look forward to seeing you there. And thanks for listening.